Tēnā koutou katoa, ko William Rolleston tōku ingoa. Science sits at the heart of who we are as a modern society. We take for granted microwaves and motor cars, and we wonder at the cosmos, robotics, and our future with AI. Yet many of us remain deeply suspicious of science, particularly when it affects our biology. Debates on vaccines, cell phones, water fluoridation, and 1080 are infected with misinformation and uncertainty. Even modern food production can trigger fear and irrationality in certain sections of society. In the realm of gene technology, we have seen incredible advances. CAR T-cell therapy has put lost cause cancer patients into remission. Gene therapy is showing great promise in mitigating inherited enzyme deficiencies, haemophilia, and sickle cell anemia, freeing patients from a lifetime of therapy, pain, and distress. I think only last week we heard a gene therapy breakthrough for Huntington's disease, a particularly cruel late-onset inherited disorder that sends its victims into uncontrolled gyrations and simultaneously robs them of their sanity. Since the deployment of genetic modification in agriculture in 1996, 16 million farmers across 26 countries each year now cultivate 200 million hectares of GM crops, producing more food, healthier food, reducing pesticide use, and saving our wildlands from the plough. But despite these successes, opposition to gene technologies in New Zealand is fierce. The Has-No Act, controlling gene technologies, has come before Parliament under both Labour and national governments. Following Corngate, we have now seen a familiar pattern. In the absence of bipartisan support, liberalisation sought by the government at the time is restricted by one of its coalition partners. The Alliance Party, the Greens, the Māori Party have each played this role. And this time, New Zealand First, and this time activists see New Zealand First as the easiest route to nurture their misinformation. At local government level, activists clamour for GE-free regions, and some councils have acquiesced, denying farmers of choice and a future which is fast approaching. Misinformation is like a cancer on public debate. When the debate is in remission, scientists release their stories and the public steadily come on board. As legislation starts to move through Parliament, the level of misinformation rises. Trust is hard fought and easily lost, and fear is a potent driver of public opinion. The insidious cancer is back. We formed the Life Sciences Network 26 years ago at the beginning of the debate on genetic modification. Our aim was to counter the misinformation and disinformation that was designed to terrify the public. Metaphors like Frankenfoods and Terminator technologies are examples. We sought to inform decision makers of the evidence so they could sort the wood from the trees. Francis Weavers, who's here in the audience today, a seasoned campaigner, and our small team worked tirelessly and with good humour to get this done. The country owes Francis a great vote of thanks. We held the line against loud and passionate opposition. I think science is critical in this debate, and it has been underplayed. Two quotes from two very different philosophers spring to mind. To paraphrase Edmund Burke, the only thing necessary for the triumph of misinformation is for good scientists to say nothing. Misinformation is highly effective if well packaged and goes unchallenged by those with knowledge. To come back to my cancer analogy, during our periods of remission, the science community steadily builds trust through outreach and media. This very institution, the Royal Society of New Zealand, ran an excellent series on gene editing. It helped turn the tide in politicians' minds. But when the misinformation swirl of the Select Committee goes unchallenged, the hard work of the Society counts for nothing. Select committees seem unable or unwilling to check the veracity of claims made in front of them. So too the media, who can amplify misinformation simply because it sounds plausible. This is where scientists can make a difference. Inform politicians if they misspeak. Educate journalists if they repeat what is not credible. Both politicians and journalists appreciate a helping hand. Bertrand Russell comes from a very different perspective to Burke, but his quote encapsulates the other weakness science has in this debate. Russell said, "The whole problem with the world today is that fools and fanatics are so sure of themselves, and wiser folk so full of doubt." Evidence is not absolute. There is no such thing as 100% safe food. Even the crispiest organic apple can choke you to death. But the uncertainty that is inherent in science is exploited by those who oppose it, and is embodied in the uncertainty principle, which is an excuse to do nothing. That is not to say that scientists should spout certainty when there isn't any, but the challenge is to put that certainty into perspective. There are risks in everything we do and everything we don't do, and science can help us evaluate those risks and choose the better path. The advent of departmental science advisors has helped, but as has been said before, it is a team effort. In short, science has a responsibility to stand up where it counts. There is safety in numbers, and if the Life Sciences Network has helped scientists to do just that, then we have done our job. I'd like to thank the Royal Society for recognising the importance of this narrative and giving me this award. I'd like to thank my family. I'd like to thank Francis Weavers and my brother and business partner, John, for giving me the space and support to advocate for science. I'd like to thank those teams around me in science, in biotechnology, in industry, and in agriculture, who have been prepared to stand up. But this is unfinished business. We are lagging our trading partners in achieving practical legislation. The Select Committee reports on the Gene Technology Bill on Friday, so we'll see if science or superstition wins the day. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.